everyone, Tracy here. Today I want to show you how I use the Foundry Wax from Tim Holtz on a vase that I made a couple of years ago. So without any further ado, here we go.
Hey guys, welcome.
Okay, here we go.
So
So I'm going to, I made this vase a couple of years ago. It's made of plaster of Paris and air dry clay.
I'm going to use
and I want
wax
to do use the Foundry Wax, and I kept saying gilding wax, which is why I'm doing a voiceover, because I want to get it right. To kind of embellish it with a little bit more of a metallic feel. I had painted it originally with the metallic paints. And you can see I did already some of the Foundry Wax on part of it just to test to make sure it would work before I went on video, because you know, I don't know how acrylic paint is going to behave with it. And I do know that the plaster of Paris got pretty hot. So just, you know, be aware. And yeah, see, my little thing is starting to flake apart because, you know, I've had it for a couple of years. So anyway, what we're going to do here is I'm going to try and fix that little area right there too that chipped off. So air dry clay isn't the strongest. I'm going to go and start with the gilded here. Now I'm shaking it up. I can hear the ball rattle. I'm just going to pour a little bit on my mat here. And I'm just going to take my finger, just kind of work it a little bit, and then just lightly spread it on the gills here. Or on the scales and then on the gills. There we go. I'll get that right. Get a little bit on his shaped face. And I'm trying to get it where you can see it, but it's pretty huge. So there might be some spots that are difficult to see, and I apologize for that. In hindsight, after I had done all this work, I decided that koi was way too big for the vase because you can't see the whole thing. And then I'm trying to repair a little spot here that has been chipped off, and I'm doing it with the gilded. So I'm going to wipe up my mess there and move those way out of the sight of my heat tool. And I'm going to get out my heat tool, and I'm just going to warm this up so it will set. And it's set as soon as you see the color change. So some areas are thicker than others, so it takes a little bit longer. I think it depends on how thick you get this on here, but as soon as you see it change, you can move on to the next spot. So it goes from a dull to a shiny, and you can see that one little scale is taking longer because I've got thicker gilding wax in there. So I just move my heat tool around until I see it change from dull to shiny. And this is working out pretty good. I wish this stuff had been around when I originally painted this guy. There were several coats of acrylic paint to go on that. That was before I even knew anything about Tim Holtz. And that's something. So I haven't been in the crafting world, you know, like in the card making world for more than 2 years. I think I started at the end of 2020. Prior to that, I was making 3D objects like this one. And this one is taking a little bit longer to go shiny on me too, and I'm not sure why. But I'm just going to move on because maybe it is shiny and I'm just not seeing it. Just going over to make sure I get any spots that I might have missed. So interesting, the jar itself is made out of a paper towel roll and cardboard, and then I paper machéed it, and then I put plaster of Paris over it, and then I made and sanded, and more plaster of Paris and more sanding, but I was okay with it being a little rustic. So now I'm going to go in with this next color, and this one is, let me see, let me grab them real quick because I forgot its name already. It is, let me get them all over here. That is Mind. So the mind is sort of a coppery color. So I'm doing a mixed metal look here. So I'm just going lightly over, right over top of that gold, or that gilded color. And just using up all that I can from my mat before it gets too dried up. Just tapping it on and rubbing it on. So I don't by any means want it to look perfect or neat, because that wasn't the idea behind this whole thing in the first place. See, if you look down inside that tube, you can see that that's a paper towel roll. Interesting ways you can recycle. So again, I'm heating this, and this one is easier to see on camera change from a dull to a shiny. And it looks just like metal. See, I got it a little thicker there, so it's going to take a little longer to heat. Once it's heat set though, it's on there. And I have my heat tool very, very close to it. Just going around, making sure I didn't miss any spots. Okay, just about got it. And you can see I've already done silver on the tips of the lotus flowers. Make sure I get down here where his other little flipper thing is. I don't know what you call that thing. It's not a gill. No, it's not a gill. I don't know what the heck it is. The wings, flipper things. All right, so it's getting pretty warm, but it's starting to look really, really cool. Let me give you a close-up shot. Okay. So I'm going to go in with another color now. And I'll be doing those flowers with the silver, but I'm going to go in, I think I'm going to go in with the Foundry. What do I have here? Yeah, looks like I'm going in with the mind again. Yeah, because I'm trying to repair a little spot where it chipped off. So I'm putting a little bit more mind on there. And I'll heat that, and that will fix that little piece of paint that chipped off. This thing sits in a spot where nobody goes and no cats can knock it over and stuff like that, because it's fairly delicate. Again, it's air dry clay, so it's not something you want to count on for any kind of durability. It could break to pieces at any moment. All right, there we go. Now we're going to go in with the statue. It feels sticky there, so I'm just making sure everything's dry. I'm thinking probably statue's going to be my favorite of all of them, because it's more of a bronze instead of a copper or a gold. So again, I'm just going to tap that onto my finger, and I'm keeping it fairly wet for a moment here, so I can just tap it here and there. It's very liquidy at first, and then it turns into more of a paste. So I want to make sure I work fairly quickly with it. Get a little bit up here on his little wing thingy. I did the sculpture itself from a picture I found on the web of a tattoo, because that was the point of it. I love tattoos with koi. So let's go ahead and heat set that, what is it? The Foundry Wax statue color. That's the color, statue. Yeah, see, I'm loving that color. It just brings something new to the whole game. Make sure I get his little bottom fin. That's what those are called, fins. Oh my gosh. Words are hard. That really bumped it up a notch. So I need to do the bent portion of his tail as well. And I'm assuming it's a he. When I made him, he was a he, so whatever. So I'm kind of going in with the same color combination. So I'll go in first with the gilded. And just kind of lightly hit over those scales. And over the ridge of his, whatever, body, I guess. Get a little bit down here on the tail fin. Okay, good with that. I'm going to clean up here with, this is some 91% isopropyl alcohol in my mini mister. I'm just going to clean up a little bit here. It's not really necessary because the stuff on there was already dry. But I'm going to go ahead and heat set this one too. And then you'll see those scales shine like metal when it's set. So it definitely gives a more metal look than the metallic paint, definitely. Okay. That looks set. All right, moving on to the next color. I'm going to go ahead and do the statue color. Yeah, this by far is probably my favorite. The sterling's pretty cool too, though. And I'm just going to do the same. I'm just going to tap it here and there just to add a new metal color for a mixed metal look. Wipe off my mess. You know, always make sure you put the lid on and keep your Foundry Wax away from the heat so you don't wreck it. And let's go ahead and heat this one up. Give it its whole metal shine there. Okay, good to go. Now what we're going to do here is I'm going to do these little floral branches in the sterling color. Now this one's thicker. When you shake it, you can't really hear the ball, but you can kind of hear it. And I'm just kind of cleaning up because I don't want any other colors getting into this by mistake. I want it to stay the sterling silver. So I pound it against my hand, and that's probably not how you're supposed to shake it, but that's how I'm shaking it, and, you know, beat me up if I'm wrong. So I'm going to lay a little bit of the sterling down, and I'm going to turn this on its side kind of and hang on to it. And it's a little bit difficult to hang on to, but you can see I'm just doing the uppermost portions here. I'm not trying to color the whole thing. I'm just trying to get a little bit of metal going on there. And just checking over to make sure I didn't miss any spots. There's not a lot of that on there. That was very difficult to do because the that air dry clay gets crumbly when you start getting small like that. It's a little bit rough to work with. So sculpting and stuff like that is kind of my next love. Love doing it. I love working with Fimo or, you know, Sculpey clay, but my hands just aren't what they used to be, so I have to work with a softer medium. You know, with the Fimo clay, you gotta work it, and I don't have a pasta crank thingy. That's how I've seen a lot of people do it in videos. I don't have one, and so I just couldn't do it with my hands anymore, so I just put it away and never touched it again. I know. But I miss it. It was fun, like making millefeuille and stuff like that. So I don't like that one gold spot there, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do some dry brushing along all of it, and I'm going to use the statue again because I like it better. And I'm just grabbing this little stencil brush. It's from the dollar store, okay? So it's not any expensive brush or anything, but it's going to work for my purpose. So I'll put a little bit down, put a little bit of the Foundry Wax on my matte, and then I'm just dry brushing in spots here. So because that brush has very coarse bristles, it'll give me those kind of dry brush look lines. And I'm going to end up doing a second coat over that gold, maybe, because yeah, the gold was a mistake, but it's not coming off there. I could paint over it if I wanted to, but I'm not going to. I don't even know what I did with the blue paint. I think I used it all. But you see now how it looks like it maybe was a painted statue over a bronze, or painted, you know, a painted vase, painted over bronze. Okay, yeah, I'll spit that out. Words are hard. Gives it a pretty cool look, though, I think. Just checking to make sure I got all the spots, because some of them, they're really not going to show up until I actually heat set them. So now we've got that look of just wearing off paint. That now let's do something about that. I don't know. Let's just put a little bit more of this statue color here, and at least change it to the right color. If it's going to be a bald spot, it needs to match the rest. And see how quickly that set, because it was such a thin coat. That looks better. It matches. All right. There we go. That's much better. So here's kind of a close-up view, so you can see how that Foundry Wax worked on this little vase that I made a couple years ago. I hope you try this product, and I hope you liked the video. I hope it was helpful and educational, useful, entertaining, whatever. If you did like the video, please do give me a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. I appreciate each and every one of you. There we go. Have yourself an awesome day. Bye-bye.